Shalom, everyone, and welcome to day 13 of your study of Biblical Hebrew. Today's letter is the letter Mem, and Mem makes the sound of the letter M as in mountain. So it makes a M sound, okay? And here's the other thing you need to know about the letter Mem. It is also a shape-shifting letter. So one of those Sophit letters, so final forms. It has two forms. And these are the two forms. So this form here will show up at the beginning or in the middle of a word. And this form over here will only show up at the end of the word, which is why it's called a Sophit letter, because Sophit means like end, and this only shows up at the end of a word. Okay, so this is the second letter you've learned that has a final form. The first one you learned was kaf. Kaf has two forms. So there's kaf and then there's kaf sofit. Okay, so this is the second letter. Okay, so moving on. Here are the two letters. So this is mem over here, and this is tet. So you've learned tet before. And sometimes some people could mix up the tet and the mem because of this part. See this over here? So sometimes you could get it mixed up. But here's what you need to remember. Mem opens up from the bottom over here. There's a gap. And tet opens up from the top. So it's like this curve thing where it goes down like that. And the other thing that you could use to remember the letter mem is mem kind of looks like a mountain if you see it. See the point? Kind of looks like a mountain going up. And it has an M sound, mountain. So you can use that to remember the letter mem. So mountain is M sound because it has the letter M. And mem has a M sound. Okay? So you can use that to help you out and remember the difference between the two letters. Now we're going to take a look at a word with the letter mem in it. And so we're going to look at the first consonant. It's a mem, which is why it's translated with the letter M. And then we're going to look down and we see a comet and it makes an ah sound. So you have m and ah and you go ma, ma. And then we're going to look over to the next letter, which is the letter shin. You haven't learned this letter yet. It's okay. It makes an sh sound. So sh, which is why we have an S and a H over here, transliterated. So it makes a sh sound. And we're going to look down and we see a dot over here. This is chirik. Chirik makes an E sound, which is why you have the letter I. And it's the I sound in the word ski. So S-K-I. So E. So it makes an E sound. So we look over and we see the yod. And there's no letter surrounding the yod, which means yod is acting a vowel helper. It's connected to this vowel here. So it's together, these are making the E sound, okay? So you have sh and E, and you go she. So you have ma, she. Okay, so now we're going to look to the next thing, and that is this vowel here. So you would think you would have to go to the consonant, but you actually have to go to the vowel for this one, because this is called a furtive patach, and it happens when you have chet and patach, the furtive patach at the end of the word, and it can also show up with the letter ayin. You haven't learned that letter yet, but that's okay. It's very common with the letter chet, and when these two are combined together, you actually have to start with the vowel first and then go to the consonant. And so this is called a furtive patach. And usually when it's formatted in books and stuff, this patach over here will actually be moved slightly over to the right. So it looks like it should be completely under the chet, but it's not. It'll be slightly moved over. And that is hinting to you and telling you that this is a furtive patach, which means you say this first and then the consonant. So it's kind of difficult to format it in this slide. So I've just left it here like this underneath. But if you open up a Tanakh or like books with the vowels in them, you'll see that this will be slightly moved over to let you know that you have to say this vowel first, which is why I have the A over here, and then the ch sound. You can see how it's transliterated. So you go ah, and then ch, ach, ach. You have the ah, and then the ch sound. So you go ach, ach, and that's how you make the last sound here. So you have ma, shi, ach, ma, shi, ach, Mashiach, Mashiach, and that's the word. So this word means anointed one or Messiah, and it specifically means actually anointed one, literally, but it can also refer to like a person, like the Messiah. Now we're going to look at another word here, and this is where the letter mem is at the end of the word, you can see here. And so you have this letter here, it's ayin, and ayin is silent. It's one of those silent letters like a aleph. There are only two silent letters in Hebrew, and that is ayin and aleph. So this has no sound. So what we're going to do is we look down to see what vowel ayin is paired with, and it is a patach. So it makes an ah sound. And then, so with this, combined with this, you just get the ah sound. You say ah. And then you look at the next letter, that's mem. It makes a m sound. So you go ah, am. And you get the word am. And this word means people. Okay, so moving on, you will now look at how to write the letter mem. So you start with a line going up like this, kind of like you're drawing a mountain. So it looks like a triangle. And then you're going to go down and then draw the line over. So basically what you're doing is you are drawing a triangle, but when you draw it, you see the line here. You don't close it. Don't close this gap. You have to leave it open because that's how the letter mem is. There's a gap there. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to draw a line from the top here, and it has to touch this line. And that's the letter mem. So it looks just like a triangle here, and then this thing sticking up. So it kind of looks like a mountain. You can see that. Okay, next what you're going to do is you're going to write the mem, but in the final form. So mem sofit. And you're going to draw a line horizontally, then vertically, then horizontal again, and then going up. And that's all mem is. It looks like a square. That's what mem looks like. Mem just looks like a square. So you can write it just like a square like this, or you can write it like a square but with this little part sticking up. It doesn't matter. People will still understand what you're writing. Okay, so mem looks like a square. Mem sofit looks like a square. The mem actually looks like a mountain or a triangle. Okay, moving on. We're going to take a look at a passage in the Bible here. It's, again, Psalm 119, and you're going to try and see how many mems you can find. So you can find mem or mem sofit. It doesn't matter. Just find as many as you can. But what I'm going to do is I'm removing the vowels so you can focus on these consonants, which you're learning. And I'm going to highlight God's name in blue so you know where it is. But you should already know what his name looks like now, since you've done your previous lesson on Adventure Day 3 about God's name. You should be an expert in that by now. Okay? So you should know what his name looks like. And I'm going to put a timer up for you. You can always use the timer if you want a challenge. If you don't want to use the timer and you need more time, you can always pause the video. Okay? So I'm going to put the timer up in 3, 2, 1. And time's up. So these are how many mems are here in this passage. So you can see there's mem over here, and there's the final form over here. So you can see that final form shows up at the end of the word. Now you can see what I mean. See, every time it shows up, it will only be at the end of a word. But mem, this part, can be in the beginning of a word. Over here, it can be in the middle, like this, here. So you can see that mem can go in the middle or in the beginning of a word, but mem sofit can only go at the end of a word. Okay? And so we have 10 mems in this passage. So 10 of them that look like this. And we have 4 mem sofits that go at the end of the word. And here's the letter tet. So remember, this has a gap on the top, and the mem has a gap on the bottom. Okay, so moving on. What you should know from this lesson before you continue, okay? You should know the name of this letter. You should know that it's mem. You should know that this is mem sofit. You should know it has the same sound, both of them. It doesn't matter whether it is this mem or this mem. They will always have the M sound, as in mountain, a M sound. They're both transliterated with an M, and it's a consonant. And this is not an official class thing for the letters. Remember how I said there's the guttural perspiration, then the begad kafat letters, which are certain classes of letters. This is not an official class. You can tell by the word. It's in brackets also. I made this up. I call it the shape-shifting club because chaf and mem change the form at the end of a word. And so I call this the shape-shifting club. You'll learn some more letters that are part of this group. So it's kind of like they're all part of one club of shape-shifting. That's their superpower. They change the form at the end of the word. Okay? So it's something I made up. Don't actually use it as an actual class, but you can probably use it to remember that they change the form at the end of the word. Okay? Okay, so that's it for this lesson, and I will see you in the next lesson where you learn the letter Nun. Okay? Until then, shalom and God bless.